Chapter 1. The Boy Who Listened. Elliot wasn't like the other kids in Maple Hill. While they raced their bikes through muddy trails or spent afternoons with video games, Elliot preferred to wander through the woods behind his grandmother's house. He liked the silence, the way the wind whispered secrets through the trees. One sunny afternoon, Elliot found a strange feather lying on an old tree stump. It shimmered blue and green, like dragonfly wings, and as soon as he touched it, a soft voice echoed in his ears. "You can hear us now." He jumped back, heart pounding. "Who's there?" But there was no one. Later that night, he returned to the stump, and this time, something amazing happened. A fox appeared. Not just any fox, but a silver one with eyes like starlight. "Elliot," the fox said calmly, "the forest has chosen you. We need your help." Chapter 2. The fox's warning Elliot stared at the silver fox, unsure if he was dreaming. You can talk," the fox nodded. "My name is Kale. I am a guardian of the forest, and you, Elliot, are one of the few humans who can hear the forest speak." Elliot blinked, still unsure what to say. "But I'm just a kid." Kale's eyes sparkled. Sometimes the smallest voices make the biggest difference. The wind rustled through the trees. The forest felt alive. "There is something coming," Kyle said gravely. "A shadow. It's growing stronger. It feeds on fear, anger, and destruction. If it spreads, the forest will fall silent forever." Elliot shivered. "What can I do?" Kale tilted his head. "You must find the 4 keepers, ancient animals who protect the balance. Each holds a lesson. Only with their guidance can you stand against the shadow." Elliot hesitated, then nodded. "Where do I start?" Kale smiled. "Follow the river. The Owl of Wisdom awaits." Chapter 3. The Owl of Wisdom. The next morning, Elliot packed a backpack, flashlight, granola bars, notebook, and the shimmering feather. He left a note for his grandma. Exploring the forest. Be back by dinner. Following Kale's direction, he walked along the river, deeper than he had ever gone. Birds chirped, leaves whispered. Hours passed until the forest opened into a quiet glade. At its center stood a massive tree, old as time. Perched high was a great horned owl with feathers like parchment and eyes full of knowing. "You've come," said the owl, its voice low and echoing. "Are you the first keeper?" Elliot asked. "I am Orin, the Owl of Wisdom," it said. "Before you fight the shadow, you must understand it. Tell me, Elliot, what scares you the most?" Elliot thought. "Failing, letting people down." Orin nodded. "Fear grows when we face it alone, but wisdom turns fear into strength." This owl gave Elliot a small scroll. "Inside, you will find the first truth. Read it when the time is right." As Elliot took it, a shadow passed over the clearing. The air grew cold. Orin's feathers bristled. "It's near. Go. The next keeper waits in the Firegrass Plains." Chapter 4. The Lion of Courage. The landscape changed. Trees gave way to wide fields, covered in golden grass that shimmered like fire. The heat beat down, but Elliot pressed forward. Then he heard it, a roar that shook the sky. A golden lion emerged from the tall grass, muscular, proud, and radiant, with a warm glow. "I am Zara," the lioness growled. "And you are smaller than I expected." Elliot stood tall. "I'm here to learn courage." Zara circled him. "Courage isn't about being fearless. It's doing what must be done, even when you are." She led Elliot to a steep cliff, where a young gazelle was trapped halfway down. "Help him," Zara said. Elliot's legs shook as he climbed down. The rocks were slippery, the drop steep, but he focused, using what little strength he had. Inch By inch, he reached the gazelle and helped it up. Zara smiled. Well done. Remember, fear can be loud, but courage is steady. She gave Elliot a glowing stone. Keep it close. You'll need it in the swamp. Chapter 5. The Turtle of Patience. The swamp was silent. Misty water covered the ground, and tall reeds swayed like dancers, in slow motion. Every step Elliot took made a quiet splash. He followed a path of glowing mushrooms, just as Zara had instructed. Hours passed. Nothing happened. Where's the keeper? Elliot grumbled, sitting on a mossy stone. That stone is my back, young one. A deep voice rumbled. Elliot leapt up. The stone slowly turned, revealing an enormous turtle with a shell covered in moss, tiny flowers, and even a sleeping frog. I am Thalos, the turtle of patience, the creature said. Elliot bowed. You don't look like a fighter. Thalos chuckled. Strength is not always in speed or fire. Sometimes the greatest battles are within. Thalos asked Elliot to help him move fallen branches from the water. It was slow work, tedious, but Elliot stayed with it, steady, focused. You learn well, Thalos said at last. Patience is not waiting. It's how you behave while waiting. He handed Elliot a green pendant shaped like a leaf. One more keeper remains. Find the crow. Chapter 6. The Crow of Strategy. The final keeper lived at the edge of a cliff, where winds howled day and night. Elliot climbed carefully. The leaf pendant and glowing stone safe in his pocket. Perched on a crooked tree was a jet-black crow with piercing amber eyes. You must be Elliot, the crow cawed. I am Corin, the crow of strategy. Your final lesson awaits. What do I need to do? Elliot asked. Corin pointed his wing toward the valley below. A trap is set. The shadow has begun its spread. You must get past the guardian vines without being seen. Use your mind, not your might. Elliot studied the valley. Watched the way the vines moved. Then, he built a small decoy out of sticks and leaves, placed it downwind, and crept silently along the edge. The vines lunged toward the decoy, giving Elliot enough time to slip past. Corin cawed in approval. You see? Sometimes thinking 3 steps ahead is better than rushing in. He dropped a silver feather into Elliot's hand. Now go. The shadow waits at the heart of the forest. Chapter 7. The Heart of the Forest. The forest darkened as Elliot walked toward its center. The trees grew twisted, their branches like claws. The air was thick with fog and whispers, not friendly ones this time. Kale the silver fox appeared beside him. This is the shadow's domain now. Elliot nodded, heart pounding but steady. He carried all 4 tokens: the scroll of wisdom, the stone of courage, the leaf of patience, and the feather of strategy. The forest opened into a hollow clearing where the trees bent away from the center. At the very heart stood a swirling black mass, shifting, pulsing, whispering terrible things. You are weak. You will fail. You are alone. Elliot took a deep breath. No, I'm not. He unfurled Oren's scroll and read aloud. The truth it held. The shadow is born of what we hide, but light lives in what we share. The shadow hissed. He held up Zara's stone. I faced fear and kept going. He showed Thalos's leaf. I stayed steady, even when it was slow and hard. He raised Corin's feather. And I didn't charge in. I used my mind. A beam of light shot from each item, weaving around Elliot and pushing the darkness back. The shadow shrieked. You're just a child, but a child who listened, Elliot said calmly. With a flash, the shadow burst like smoke in the wind. Light flooded the clearing. The trees straightened. Flowers bloomed. The forest of whispers sang again. Kale smiled. You've done it, Elliot. Epilogue. The Whisper. Elliot returned home just before sunset. His grandma was waiting with warm cookies and a knowing smile. How was your adventure? She